Hey everybody, so while I'm gone, you're going to be spending the next 3 days working on a new project. This project's called Polygonal Pattern. So you're going to be working on creating repeating patterns, and you're also going to be really working on your craftsmanship with colored pencil. So just as a reminder, I have colored pencils and rulers on the counter by the sink, okay? So the materials we'll need for this, you're going to need a ruler, and those are in that green tub by the sink, and you might have your own in your pack as well. You're going to get a 6" by 6" piece of cardstock. So cardstock is just thicker paper, not as thick as watercolor paper, but still a little bit heftier than just computer paper. Okay, you're also going to be using your colored pencils, and remember I've got some on the counter by the sink if you need them. Okay, you can also use the ones in your pack as well. Just as more of an upfront thing, I want to show you some stuff that I added on Canvas to make this a little bit easier for you all. So if you go to Canvas, and I'm just going to put my computer in front of my iPad, in modules or the home button, whichever, you'll see a module called Polygon Pattern. Okay, so those are the days where I'm going to be gone. If you click into this, I will be uploading the video right here if you need to rewatch it. It also has a list of some of the stuff you'll need that I just went over. And then, now this is really important, they have step-by-step directions. Okay, so these are the ones I'm going to go over in the video. But if you need some guidance, if you need some help, Canvas is a great way to do this. Just go step by step, okay? So I'm going to go through these directions with you, but it is a great reference to go back to them, okay? Okay, so let's get started. So first, let me tell you how we're going to go about doing this and what we're going to make. So here's an example, kind of the end product. Notice how nice and neat the colored pencil is. This is going to take you a long time to fill in, but I really am looking for really nice craftsmanship, and I'll go over that with the colored pencil as I start to fill this in. So how do I get this crazy wacky pattern? That is what I'm going to show you right now. So first, we're going to be using our ruler, and this says this in the directions as well. What you're going to do is you're going to start at the top, and you're going to mark 1/2 inch down on both sides, okay? So 1/2 inch here. I'm going to go slide this one over, and I'm just going to line that up. I just need a little mark, so 1/2 inch here, okay? So after that, it's going to be 1 inch, okay? So every inch you're going to make a mark, okay? So there's that 1/2 inch. I'm going to go to the 1, another inch, there's 2, and then 3, 4, and 5, okay? So you'll see that there's a 1/2 inch on the bottom and a 1/2 inch on top. So you're going to have kind of 5 boxes here to work with. Okay, I'm going to go on the other one. Make sure you're making these measurements pretty accurate here. That's going to help you out a lot. Okay, and there we have it. So I'm going to put my ruler aside. That's pretty much the only time I'm going to need to use it. And now what we're going to do is we're going to connect these marks I made, or dots that you make, by doing what's called alien writing. Also, you can refer to this as using polygons or just a series of straight lines, and we're going to connect from point A to point B here. So it's good to draw light because we will be going over this with colored pencil, and you don't want your pencil lines showing up too much, okay? So watch how I do this. It's kind of, you just got to make sure you're doing straight lines, but you can go in a bunch of different ways. I kind of go like short and choppy. You can go in this direction, You go diagonally, you can go down, you do like a little square, go back up, maybe back out this way, triangle. Now I'm going to go down here. So see how kind of short and choppy my pencil marks are. I can go a little bit below the line, and I can go a little bit above the line, but you don't want to go too far where you start to go into the other mark here. So now I'm connecting the dots there. You're going to go to another one. I like to have mine kind of go inwards a little bit so I'm not on a slant, but that kind of can be up to you. And don't overthink these too much, but you do want to kind of approximate the shape. You want to think about your positive and your negative space, because this is going to be your positive, and then they're going to kind of play back and forth between positive and negative space there. So just kind of watch how I'm doing this. I can go faster, I can go slower. Not putting too much pressure. Okay, so you're going to do this. Notice how many series of marks I'm making. It's pretty rapid. Okay, so you're going to do this until you get from all the points, okay? So then you'll get something like this, right? Next, we're going to develop our polygons further. So polygons are shapes with straight lines, okay? They're not going to be too curvy. You might see some curves in mine, but those were not really necessarily intentional. So now what we're going to do is we're going to look to see what shapes we can make. I think areas where 2 points can connect make great ones here. And you're going to kind of connect these along here. I think having a little bit of character is going to help these out quite a bit. You can also, if you want, you can go like that, right? Make it a little bit different. Connect those dots there, okay? So then, I've got that row done. I got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It's kind of what you're shooting for, around, 6 to 10 of these. Just looking for kind of some interesting shapes that kind of are in a similar size, Still just using straight lines. That one might be on a slant a little bit. Okay, and then you're going to keep doing that until you get all the way down in there, okay? So I'm going to keep connecting, try to make this look nice and complete. And I'm going a little bit fast, so you can slow down if you need to. Remember, these are in Canvas too if you want to follow along with those directions. Okay, so next part, you're going to make what's called an ABC color pattern, which means that you're going to pick 3 different colors, okay? No more, no less than 3. And we're going to really be careful where we place our patterns, our colors, I mean. So you should have a color designated for A, a color designated for B, and a color designated for C. So in my case, let's say my A, I'm going to put an A right here, and I'm going to make that one my yellow, okay? So I'm just going to go down and put just a little bit of yellow so I don't forget, okay? So then my B, and I'm going really, really light. You don't have to put these marks. This is just to show a little bit better. Let's make my B blue. That one will help me remember that because it's B for blue. Okay. And then my last one, C, we're going to have be red, all right? So no more, no less than 3, okay? So to make this really balanced and interesting, we need to make sure we're not placing our colors right next to each other. So see this one, blue is surrounded by green and purple, okay? And there's not many instances where blue is touching. So you need to try your best to make sure that these are spread out. One way you can do that is I can go ahead and plan. I think it's a good way to start A, B, C. A, B, C, A. Okay, so I've got this one right here. I need to think about which one. I've got an A, which is yellow, a B, which is blue. So I think C would be a good spot for that because C won't be touching another C, okay? So then A is pretty far away from this A right here. And if I put a B right here, I'd have two blues next to each other, okay? And I don't want that. So be really careful with how you select your pattern. It's good to decide first so you don't get disorganized. Don't go all, willy-nilly on it. Really plan this out so that we're not getting a bunch of colors right next to each other. So next I want to talk about what I'm kind of expecting for your craftsmanship. Remember, we don't want to have any of the white of the paper shining through, especially with colored pencil. We almost want to make it look like we're using paint that's really opaque. So a good way to do that is you can go in 3 directions. So I'm just lightly going over the first layer. You don't want to cross back and forth too much. Really, really neat. You want to be neat with the edges too. So I kind of consider this like one layer, right? And now the next layer I can go the opposite direction. See how much darker that's getting. Now I'm just being patient. I'm not scribbling too much. Okay, still got some white spots on the edges I'm going to want to clean up. Okay, and then even one more direction would be good. So let me just go straight vertical on this one. So you want 3 different directions, going back and forth, pretty consistent. Okay, so I'm going to let that one go for a second. I'm going to move on to the blue. I'm going to do the same thing. You don't want to put too much pressure at once also on your first layer. If I just scribble it, sometimes it can work, but it tends to look pretty sloppy. So save the pressure for your last layer there. So that's one. Okay, now I'm going to kind of go up and down this way. Just being patient. Alrighty, so just to go over a couple more things. You're going to work like in this pattern, trying to find ones that aren't touching each other until it goes all the way down to the bottom, okay? So see how these greens are just kind of not touching. We got the purples not touching, okay? So that takes some planning and thinking. Oh, I don't want to put a blue right next to a blue, okay? So this is kind of how the end result should look. Look how filled in everything is and really, really neat, okay? So I think that's all I got for you. I want y'all storing these in your Inktober bins. I mean the Inktober drawers that we had that we used during Inktober in your period, okay? Alrighty, thank you.